We've got a fun sound, people, today. We are here with 2 Bar. They're a whiskey distiller out of Seattle, and this is Sony.
Hi.
This is a fun one because we're talking cocktails today.
Talking about booze, yeah.
Yeah. We want to hear your story. So let's start with the history of 2 Bar.
So 2 Bar itself started from the mindset of Nathan Kaiser, who was the founder. We started in 2010. Currently, we are just a 3-person, tight-knit, well-run team. There's myself, I'm one of the distillers, Maddie, who is our head distiller, and then, like I said, Nathan Kaiser. There's a little family lore that there was a moonshiner, his grandfather, in his family, and he decided to bring that whole story to life in 2 Bar, which started out as a family ranch in Texas, and he brought that idea here to Seattle.
In addition to the historical pieces of the Kaiser farm in Texas, I loved that in the distilling room you had a wooden paddle, and that used to be the paddle that would mix the fermenting mash?
Yes, the mash.
And that was the origins of how 2 Bar started.
Yes. Back then it was just a big horse trough, and someone would manually have to mix everything with that paddle. It's nice to have little pieces of our history like that at the distillery.
Can you tell us a little bit about your whiskeys?
We started out first and foremost making moonshine, and then we moved on to vodka, and that there helped establish us as a company, because when you make whiskey, the one ingredient that nobody ever really mentions is time. You've got to sit on the whiskey in order for it to become whiskey. Within that, we've got our 5 different now, styles of bourbon. So we make nothing but bourbon. And then of course we do the moonshine, and that's more of a nod towards the family. But the 4 main types that we have are straight bourbon whiskey. In order for it to be a straight bourbon, it's got to sit in the barrel for at least 2 years. Ours, because we like it that way, sits in there for about 4 years.
Another part of your creativity is this collaboration with the chocolate that starts from the bourbon and then your chocolate bitters. Tell everyone about that.
Spinnaker is a local chocolate company, and they make chocolate bars that they've won awards for using our bourbon. And so after that process of soaking their cocoa nibs and making the chocolate bars, I get that liquid back, and I turn that into bitters, where you're able to use it in cocktails and cooking. There's so many things that you can do with bitters, and yeah, very proud of that. We do everything from start to finish within our facility, and all that's done with our 2-person production team, which is Maddie and me. It's a lot of work, but we love it. We love everything that we do.
And you source everything from Washington, which
Pacific
is
Northwest.
so
Yes,
neat.
we are truly a
Local.
Pacific Northwest bourbon, and we received a Superior Gold from a contest at the Tokyo Whiskey and Spirits competition. We got a Superior Gold for our 6-year barrel-aged bourbon, and then we got a silver for our 100-proof bottle and bond. Very proud of that.
One of the things I liked when I went there is, and I did not know this, is that when the bourbon comes out, it's clear.
Yes,
And
yes.
so the color comes from it being in the
100%
cask.
from the barrel.
That becomes really important too, how the barrel selection process goes. Can you talk about how you guys go about selecting barrels?
When it comes to barrel selection or barrel sourcing, you can have a barrel that is charred or toasted. All of our barrels that we use are charred. Out of the char that you can get from a number 1 to a number 5, we usually do ours about a 4. And when it goes in those barrels, that's when it starts to work on that color. And the longer that it stays in the barrel, the more color it's gonna get.
I have a question that's maybe silly.
Not at all, not at all.
What's the difference between whiskey and bourbon?
All bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon. For bourbon to be bourbon, it's got to be at least 51% corn, and then you can use a mixture of other grains from there. In our case, we've got corn, wheat, and barleys. If you want to think of us in the sense of sitting next to something similar on a shelf, line them up in a flavor profile, we'd be sitting next to like a W.L. Weller or maybe a Maker's Mark, simply because our recipes are really close to each other. But again, they don't have Pacific Northwest grain, they don't have Pacific Northwest water, and they don't have Maddie and me.
Did you ever see yourself landing and doing something like this?
You know, in a strange sort of way, I think I always wanted to. My whole fascination with cocktails in the industry itself started out when I was about 9 years old. Basically, that was me entertaining my mom and her friends when they would come over to our house, and my mom would eventually, you know, instead of having me just go get the glass of wine or go get this and that, she eventually started having me mix this and that, and there was something that was fascinating about that. As I got older, I got to realize that there's something about bringing people together over both food and drink. It's fulfilling to me to be able to not only do it in that sense of the entertainment, but being able to create something that brings people together. Who doesn't mind, you know, lifting a glass and saying cheers to something?
I can tell that there's a passion in it, and you know, even with Maddie, as she was talking through the process, you can see her passion for the science behind it.
Yes.
There's a lot of heart.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that happens with all three of us, and that's why I think the success sort of naturally comes because we're not working for it. We like doing it, so it's not really work. It's just part of what we have to do to make sure it keeps going forward.
Please go visit Two Bar, South Seattle area, and try their whiskey. It's really great.